Dr. Yunus, it's a very big pleasure for me to be able to speak with you for a few minutes today. I very much appreciate your time.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
I know that you talked in your TED Talk about that you wanted to turn the banking industry upside down. Every piece of it, you wanted to flip it upside down. And I wanted to know if you could start off by just telling me what you thought was wrong with what they were doing before and why you wanted to change it.
Well, the banking system was not opening the doors for bulk of the population on this planet. They are rejected from the system because they cannot go and do business with them. So I started in one village back in 1976 to lend money to the people who would never be able to go to the bank to take money. They go to the loan sharks, and loan sharks take advantage and exploit them mercilessly. So I thought, why don't I lend the money instead of the loan sharks? I can do that and people will be safe. I did that. And out of that, I created a bank called Grameen Bank, or Village Bank, and started lending money to more and more people. And people ask me, how did you design the bank? What did you do to make it work? I said, well, it was very simple for me to make this bank, because whenever I needed a rule or a procedure, I just look at the conventional banks, how they do it. Once I learn how they do it, I just do the opposite. And it works. Conventional banks go to the rich people to lend them money. The more money you have, the more money they will give. So I reverse that. I go to people who don't have money. If you have nothing, I give the highest priority. So I reverse that whole idea. Conventional bank asks for collateral. Before they give you money, they want to see how much wealth you have. They assess you, and on the basis of that, they will lend you money. I said, no collateral is needed because you don't have anything. So we dismissed the whole idea of collateral. It's a trust-based banking. We trust the people trust us, we lend money, they pay us back. We have no problem with lending the money back. And because we don't have collateral, we don't have any legal documents. Since we don't have any legal documents between bank and the client, we don't need lawyers. So we are a lawyer-free bank. If you look at any bank, they're filled with lawyers, papers, texts of them. So that's another reverse. Conventional banks are owned by rich people, usually men. We reverse that. Grameen Bank is owned by the poor people. And most of them are women. 97% of the owners of Grameen Bank are poor women because they own the bank. They should buy the shares. So we reverse that too. And another thing, we said people should not go to the bank. Bank should go to the people. So we have now 8.5 million borrowers in Grameen Bank. And the bank goes to all of them at their doorstep to do the business with them. They don't have to come to the bank. So in every way, I was saying that we reverse the system. We created a bank which is just about the opposite of the conventional bank they use. And it works. It works in Bangladesh. It works everywhere in the world. It works in the United States. We run Grameen program in New York City. There are 6 branches in New York City. And doing excellent work. Repayment is near 100%. All women, now 12,000 women borrow from these 6 branches. And we have 5 more branches, in each one in Los Angeles, in San Francisco, in Indianapolis, in Omaha, Nebraska, Charlotte, North Carolina, and so on. So, and has the same result.
I know that you were talking about how you focused on women, and most of the percentage of the people who are benefiting from it are women. What kind of effect do you think that had? Did you see any direct effect from having the women having these loans?
It was very much. I mean, when you have money in your hand, it transforms you. The women are the most neglected part of the society. If you go to the lower end of the income level, the poor people, they literally don't exist. The women don't matter to anybody. So here we are addressing them, then giving them the money. They take the money or start earning income. It changes the whole relationship within the family itself. Suddenly she becomes an important person in the family. She participates in decision making. If you look at Bangladesh, a country with 160 million people, most dramatic thing that you can see in Bangladesh happen in the last 20 years is the women empowerment, because of the way it has gone and given people, particularly focusing on women, and changed their status in the family, in the society. And they have money in the bank. Not only they borrow money, which people see a bank as a lending organization, it's also an organization which promotes savings among the poor women. Today, right now, they're nearly $1 billion worth of savings they have in their bank accounts. So they are not insignificant kind of people anymore. They're very significant people. So it transforms life. And then second generation, we help them to get into school, get into higher education, give them education loan. So you have a completely new kind of second generation coming out of the first generation who are illiterate, never went to school, never understand what the life is all about. So now we bring it to a completely different story.
So I know that a lot of students are studying what you've done, what you did with the Grameen Bank, and they're looking up to you and seeing the things that you did, and you helped a lot of people along the way. If you were to give a message to the students who are looking up to you, what would you say to them?
Well, I would say young people are a completely different generation today. Unlike the previous generation of young people, this generation is much more powerful than they were because of the technology in their hand. This technology was never available to any generation in history. Today's generation has access to information, access to each other. They have a network, global network of their own and so on. And they're much more faster in their response pattern because they can make decisions very quickly because of the technology that they have. So my question to young people is, you now become aware that you are more powerful than ever before that happened in history. And then you ask yourself, what use you are going to make of this power that you have? Because if you don't use your power, it will be wasted. You have the power to change the whole world. If you don't use it, the world will remain what it is. And you have wasted the capacity that you had. So it's a question of how you would like to use the power in making sure that you create the world that you want, not what you have inherited. So you are the creator of the earth and the world that you have, your new society. And if you pay attention to it, you can make it happen.
Do you see the future in what you've done so far with the Grameen Bank? You told me about there's a big expansion all around the world. There are branches. There are people following the direction that you began years ago. Do you see that it's headed in a good direction? You think that it's positive outcomes will come from it?
A lot of things are happening on the microcredit front. It's expanding, it's consolidating. There are deviations from the standard that we set and creating problems also in that, because some of the people wanted to make money for themselves by lending money to the poor people, which I thought was the wrong direction. And at the same time, another idea which is catching up is the idea of social business to solve problems rather than make money for oneself. So these are social business. I defined it by saying it's a non-dividend company to solve human problems. So now all the problems that you see, each problem can be, around each problem we can design a business to solve that problem so that it becomes self-sustaining. Usually we try to address them by giving charity, donations and so on, and it helps people. But the problem with charity is the money goes, it does the work, it doesn't come back. So you have only one time use of the money. If you can transform it as a business idea, as a social business idea, then the money goes, it does the work and comes back. So you can send it back again to do the same thing again. So it becomes perpetual process and you create a lot more than you could otherwise do it in a charity way. So I'm promoting that idea of social business to address the problem of poverty, problem of healthcare, problem of environment, problem of technology, you name it, a problem of unemployment, a problem of welfare dependence, problem of drugs, and all kinds of things. So you come up with a business module, how to address, try to do it in a little small prototype design. Once you can do that for a few people, you can now replicate it, because if it's self-contained, if it's self-sustaining, then you have the chance to expand it like we have done it in microcredit. We started in one village, few people, but the idea is self-sustaining, so we can continue to expand, and it continues to go around.
You've traveled around the world and you were able to see different areas and different communities. And my question is that how does the United States and the way in the debt that we're in currently and the spending that we continue to do, does that have any effect on other countries? And if so, how?
Well, U.S. economy is the largest economy in the world. Practically every nation in the world is producing things to sell it in the United States. If the United States economy slows down, everybody's economy slows down because they can't sell it enough. So we are always kind of looking forward to see U.S. economy does well, it booms, it expands, so that everybody else's economy does that. So we hope this will happen soon. If you look back at the 2008, when the financial crisis came, it took place right here in the United States, and it shook the whole world. It's a kind of earthquake. The epicenter was here, but the tremor went to the whole world. People lost jobs, factories closed down because something happened here in this country. So U.S. plays both ways. If it's good, then it's good for everybody. If something goes bad, it's bad for everybody. So it has to have lots of responsibility. Because if it happens because of something in the policy-wise went wrong, and your decisions, your policies made rest of the world suffer, it will be a good thing to have to make you feel bad that our decisions made people lose their jobs, lose their livelihood, and so on and so forth. So that responsibility is built in such an economy like that. We hope U.S. decision makers do it the right way.
And you've had a lot of accomplishments that many people are looking towards and that they're very proud of. But I want to ask you, what are you most proud of that you've been able to accomplish?
Well, I'm very happy that what I've done in Bangladesh applies to everywhere else in the same way that we have done in Bangladesh. So I'm very happy about that. And also this idea of social business, I think now young people can look forward that I can do something on my own. I don't have to wait for the government to do anything. I'll continue to press the government to do the right thing. At the same time, I can show that things can be done in a different way, and the government and everybody else can learn from that. So I can use my creative power. So that, I think, is more important thing to make people imagine things for future. And I always insist that young people should imagine what kind of life, what kind of world they would like to live in the future. And if you imagine that, it will happen. If you don't imagine, it will never happen.
Thank you very much for sharing your message and for taking your time out of your very busy day today.
Thank you.
I very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.